Coming up on Legends.
Hey, life changed. Because you know now you have no husband. You know now you are alone. Your friends, old friends, the one you eat and do whatever you do, the one who loves your husband, they didn't come again.
Welcome to another episode of The Legends, the program that interviews those that have been in the ministry for many years, some retired and some still active, but preparing for retirement. Now, today, most of you, or some of you remember Reverend Dr. Geoffrey Ngoima Mbugua, the minister who was gunned down in a very unfortunate incident, carjacking incident in the year 2001. He was a lecturer at St. Paul's University and a minister of the Presbyterian Church. Now today we are at the home of the widow of Reverend Dr. Ngoima in Thika, and we want to hear a side of the story that comes from a widow of a minister, and also a lady who has been actively involved in the eldership in the PCA until her retirement. So welcome to the program, Mrs. Ngoima. Now tell us, maybe, how did you meet Reverend Dr. Ngoima? Before you got married?
I got, our place is not far from here. Yes. It's called Monyo. And I was teaching there nursery school. He was a nurse.
Okay.
He was trained at the Dogoto
okay.
nursing. And his appointment, for the first appointment, he was present to Monyo Health Center. That's where we met.
Okay.
And we stayed for a few years. And for a few years, we start our preparing for our wedding, 1st July 1972.
Okay.
So I'm not young.
That was a long time ago.
So it is a long time ago.
Yes.
I'm now 72 years now.
Okay.
And I'm happy.
Thank you
Yes.
so much. Now, as at the point of the unfortunate death of Reverend Dr. Ngoima, and you had 5 sons, was any one of them in school?
There's no one who was at the school. They have already finished their Form 4s.
Okay.
So they are now looking for any jobs or anywhere. But God help them. You know, you remember my husband, when they started this helping the spouses of ministers, those who are sponsored. He is the one who started that project.
Yes.
And unfortunately, our kids were grown up, so he didn't need to be helped anybody.
Yes.
So they were doing well, they were okay, and he didn't have any problem.
Okay. What can you say has been your experience as a widow of a minister? Or how did your life change when Dr. Ngoima died?
Hey, life changed. Because you know now you have no husband. You know now you are alone. Your friends, old friends, the one you eat and do whatever you do, the one who loves your husband, they didn't come again. Didn't come again. So it is just like you are alone.
Yes.
And I can say it is better even the wives of ministers to be given an opportunity to serve as an elders, if they were qualified to be elders.
Yes.
Yes.
We have some spouses who have been left by their husband at a very tender age. At least you had brought up your children by the time Dr. Ngoima died. What would be your word of advice to them that have lost their spouses at an early age?
You know, these days people are different. Some, when they, you know, even when the husband pass on, you don't know how you can tell them, because sometimes they change their minds.
Okay. So would you
So
recommend that maybe we have a kind of a widows fellowship, ministers widows fellowship?
ministers,
widows.
I remember Dr. Jessica Mang. When we were in Mombasa, he was given Kiabu Mulanga region. He was given those spouses whose husbands passed on. But unfortunately, Corona.
Oh, okay.
So that's why we didn't continue. But we met at the Elijah Kagiri church once. And let me tell minister, the ladies cries there because of problems. Those they go through. Even more that I was almost to cry because people they cry because they have seen problems. Even one was a minister and he cried so much. And the other one was given maybe 1 week. You depart for the house, then we go where your husband was telling you to go.
And now in that case you mean the parish months?
So, yes.
Okay.
The marriage months. So it is very hard because ministers' wives, those who passed on, they go through. There are some those children who are very small. You know, we have the small children.
So do you think in your own assessment, one as a senior elder of the church and as a spouse of a minister, that there is something the church should do in terms of the welfare of the widows and the widows?
Yes. I remember the time we were there at Elijah Kagiri. We told our past moderator, we need even ourselves to be given insurance because if you are sick, it is my children to take care of me. Okay. No church. So we asked them, even ourselves, to be given even a card to go to a hospital. Health insurance to go to be cared for. So that's why the corona came. We thought we didn't meet again with him. Sometimes we have problems, but God is good because we survive.
Your faith in God has made you strong, and God has supplied your needs. So on a positive note, God builds your faith and makes you strong. How has been the idea of bringing up the boys, now mature men, and how has been your relationship with them?
What I can say, I have 5 boys. And they love me so much because I'm only the girl. Yes, in the family. In the family. And their father has passed on. So, and we work together. Like now, I told the Tito, I told the Bogo, I told the Kamau that you are coming here. Yes. So everybody know. Yes. I can't do anything without you have seen another school written Dr. Ngoima. I know it at Makongeni. And I have to call them. I told them, the parish of Makongeni, they want to name your fathers. The school, they said it is okay. So I can't give the school, and when they are passing there and they see a name, they come and ask me, Mom, do you want to see Dr. Ngoima? I have to tell them. Okay. So we work together with them, and they love me so much as their mother. Again, my children, they are Presbyterian. They can't change their church. So they love their church. That's why they support me.
So, you know, in this time and age, it is a blessing to have someone, a mother, who speaks in such terms pertaining to her sons and her daughters-in-law. Yes. So it is such a blessing. And we realize that it's because of that your journey towards retirement and at the old age has been so peaceful. And this is our prayer for everyone who has children and in-laws to have a wonderful relationship. So thank you so much for taking your time to share with us and the many others. Is there one word you would want to tell the listeners? One word pertaining to your position as a widow, as a minister's spouse. Just one word you want to share with us.
I just want to say God is great. If you focus for the road.
Mm.
He will never forsake me.
Mm.
So I'm happy,
Mm.
even God to give me good health,
Mm.
good opportunity. Mm.
Oh, that is good to
Yes.
hear. So thank you so much for taking your time and to welcoming us to your home
Mm.
and taking time to share with us your experience,
Mm.
the experience that may be useful to some of us in,
Yes,
in the
yes,
ministry
yes.
and in our lives. So thank you,
Mm.
and we congratulate you for retiring honorably and raising up a wonderful family. God bless you so much.
Even I can say,
Eh,
let me finish.
yes, okay.
I can't forget this day
Yes.
because you have taken your time
Mm.
to come to see Ngoima's family.
Mm.
May God bless you.
Mm.
May God help you.
Okay.
Wherever you go,
Mm.
I will never forget this day
Thank you.
because to remember
Mm.
me and my family,
Mm.
this is not,
Mm.
I will not take that for granted. This
Yes.
is nice,
Mm.
and may God bless you,
Mm.
your family,
Mm.
even the team.
Mm.
May God bless them.
Yes.
Wherever you go,
Mm.
we go with our blessing.
Yes.
Yes, tumeshukuru sana.
Thank you. We can't forget. Dr. Ngoima was a great man and a good servant. I
Yes.
worked with him at some point, and I enjoyed his working relationship as a young man, young minister, and he really walked with me through the journey. So thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, viewers, for listening to Mrs. Ngoima. And after the break, we'll have a chat with Reverend Kogo, and also continue the discussion of retirement of ministers and the joy of retirement after the break. Thank you so much.
Coming up after the break.
I'm counted by young ministers as somebody who's empty, who has nothing to offer. But when they stuck, they like coming back to tell me how it was those years, so that they can apply, be able to operate today.
Now we move over to Reverend Dr. Wilfred Kogo in Kikuyu, who will continue the conversation on smooth transition into retirement. So Reverend Dr. Kogo, would you please greet the viewers and introduce yourself?
I'm a father of 5 adults and one wife called Ruso Wajiro. And I have been a Presbyterian clergy for 50 years since ordination. And I've worked in different parishes, interacted with many ministers. And today I'm considered to have reached what we call professional menopause.
Thank you, Reverend Kogo. Now, Reverend Kogo, you have also been in charge of the drug desk at the PC head office, and you have done a lot of work in the past with NACADA. By the way, are you still with NACADA?
I'm not with NACADA for now, but I'm sure I'm their consultant. So in NACADA, I started NACADA myself. Not that NACADA was there. It was me who started with the Kagudi and all the others.
So now we are supposed to deal with a smooth transition to retirement. Are you really retired?
I'm retired because I'm not on the payroll.
Yeah, but they are still consulting.
But when we come to full retirement, I am not.
Okay.
I'm not. I don't like being associated with the people who are idle. Therefore, I'm not retired.
Okay. But now that you are not in active parochial ministry,
Yeah, exactly.
how is it different now that you are not in active
Yes.
parochial ministry?
It's
and
different
the way it
now
was then?
from a parochial ministry because I'm counted by young ministers as somebody who is empty, who has nothing to offer. That's the only two of when we come to meetings. We don't want to listen to the older people. I'm counted as one older people. But when they stuck, they like coming back to tell me how it was those years, so that they can apply, be able to operate today. So I come to myself because I want to clear myself. I want to, even myself, I took a place because somebody retired. So I count myself to have retired, but I'm really used
So,
Every.
are you actively engaged in the life of the parish and the presbytery?
I'm very, very much involved in the life of presbytery, where, and that should be that way, but not in the parish. Although I'm attached to a parish, this one.
Okay.
But I don't like interfering so much. I don't go to their offices.
Does the parish minister engage you?
Oh yes,
Oh,
he
okay.
does. He does. He does. He does. It's only that I'm not available
Okay.
because I'm in education.
Now, explain that. You're in education.
I'm in
Explain.
education.
Okay.
Education, nobody. They tried to say I can go, but then they got the government where they reached to a level they found we cannot do this without Kogo. Even the headquarters, they consult me concerning education, concerning teachers transfer, schools transfer. But day-to-day running of the school is not my duty. There is director for that.
So now, during
But in the government has given me a place, and I am in the county education board,
okay.
which is the board that regulates education in the county. Kiabu, I am, and I'm the vice chair.
So how do you keep yourself busy now in your family environment?
Environment.
Yeah.
When I was a young minister, the one thing I learned is that at the end of the day, the church will kick me out when I get to a certain age. Because there were Christmas Kiongo, I could see them argue, they don't want to retire, they don't want to retire. I said, yeah. So I started organizing our salary. My salary when I joined the PCA was 200 shillings, and 4 shillings for paying tax. So we were increased very fast to 600, very fast to 900. So we remained there for a long time. So I knew, but things were very cheap. 200 was okay. My wife was getting 400, I think 5 as a teacher. So what I knew is that I have a family here, have these children. And finally, I'll be told walk out. You cannot contribute. Because I could see elderly ministers around here, Kikuyu. I started organizing and being organized by people. Let me tell you one thing. I could not afford. There was a time I had 5 children in high school. All my 5 they were in high school at once. The fact is that the school fees was not high. Still, salary was low. The same, they were matching together. So I remember some people volunteering, even World Division, to pay school fees for me. So I said, since I have been helped, when I grow up, I'll help other people. And I'll make sure I'll tell my children how position is. So I told my children, this way, this way, this way. And I've used all my resources with you. Know that the time I'll be out of the job, you are the one to retain me. So my children, I prepared them for my retirement. That's what I'm trying to say. I prepared myself. So we could come together, put up some places, some commercial places, buildings where we could be getting something to feed on and to fuel our car like this one. And another one, we have 2.
How long have you been retired, by the way?
I think this 6th year or 7th year. 7th year. This is my 7th year.
7th year. There's some debate that is ongoing right now about raising the retirement age. What are your views on raising the retirement age of ministers in the PCA?
Havana, I'm not for that.
You're not for that.
One, if you have not prepared your mind socially, one, there are 4 things: intellectuality, spirituality, physically, and socially. These are 4 things you should be given. So if you cannot use physical acts, you'll be able to use the head. If you are on a wheelchair, you can be driven and use the head. If you cannot use the head, you have legs. If you not, you have friends, social, and you have that knowledge. Therefore, without these four, it's very difficult to have an extension. Today, even if I'm told to be given a parish, I cannot. I feel I cannot penetrate there. I cannot dance the way you dance, because my recruitment was different. I cannot praise the way you are praised. I cannot pretend you the way you pretend. So extension, no. To me, no.
Early on in the program, we had Mrs. Ngoima. You knew the Reverend Dr. Ngoima quite well. And there was a recommendation she was giving about taking care of the spouses of the dead ministers. What do you think about it?
We have neglected that.
Okay.
Definitely, we are not doing what we are. It is a ministry of its own kind.
Yeah.
Because my Wajiro here, if I go, she will not replace me with another husband. But if she goes, and I'm now in my 70s, I will replace her.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's good for us to look at these widows.
Okay.
It is godly. It is a ministry that should be remembered.
Okay. How do you think the church should approach that kind of an issue?
The church centrally should think about that and talk before it gives to the presbyteries.
Okay.
They say this is a good idea. We should care for this, not to go to a meeting and say, look for Mrs. So and so and so. We say every widow we have, the presbytery where the husband was, should be take care of her in one way or the other.
Okay.
Because they suffer. Some who do not have employment, some who are not educated to get an employment. They suffer. Look at Mrs. Kanya. Now, she had no formal employment, and Kanya has gone. It will be a matter of 4 years. She spends whatever Kanya left behind. Then, if she was younger than she is, with the babies, with the students, and she becomes a grandmother, you can see she is alone. Nobody wants to go close to her. Either you be associated with other things other than what took you there.
So you feel that this is
I
something
feel that is a ministry we should call. It's our duty.
as soon as possible.
As soon as possible.
Yeah.
As soon as possible.
Yeah, I detected that kind of language from Mrs. Ngoima in the process of my interview with her, and it is good that you are supporting that, which is something that we should all be involved in.
Involved.
So we remember them and also remember the retired ministers. How about some retired ministers who are not being engaged in the parishes where they are touched by the active ministers? What would your word be?
There was a time I was a young minister. I could not see today coming to me that have no parish, have no that pride ya kusimamiwa na watu na kusema my parish. I did not see it. I only saw that day. Even the ministers we have today, I would like them to know there is today and tomorrow. And what you are not seeing, you are dark about it. And what you have not seen, you'll be treated the way you treated this elderly minister. Again, the elderly ministers should not go to the offices of these young ministers. Every day to stay there. Every day to go there because this is your own area. No, don't. But young ministers should respect the retired ministers who are in his parish or her parish.
Okay. Thank you so much for your insights and input to this program, and I believe what you have discussed with us will go a long way in assisting and helping those of us that are in active ministry, and remembering what we talked about, the windows of the ministers who have passed on. And thank you so much for your time and for your input and for your advice.
Thank
you.
God
Bless you and
God bless you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Viewers, see you in the next episode of The Legends.
next week on Legends.
When you come again to this one, you must accept that now you are not in employment. You are all alone. You don't need to depend on somebody else, not even where you were working.